Have you ever wondered if that old coin in your pocket or collection could be worth a fortune? Some rare coins have sold for millions of dollars, making them some of the most valuable collectibles in the world. In this video, we'll explore the most valuable coins and what makes them worth so much. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss this. Our first coin is the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that has captivated collectors and historians alike. To truly appreciate its significance, we must journey back to the early 20th century, a period marked by innovation and change in American coinage. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin was groundbreaking, as it was the first U.S. coin to feature a president's portrait. The obverse showcases a right-facing profile of Lincoln, a tribute to his enduring legacy. The reverse displays two stylized wheat stalks encircling the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, symbolizing the nation's agricultural heritage. Fast forward to 1944, a pivotal year during World War II. The United States Mint faced numerous challenges, including material shortages and increased demand for coinage. In 1943, to conserve copper for the war effort, pennies were struck in zinc-coated steel. However, this change led to public dissatisfaction due to the coin's tendency to rust and their similarity to dimes. Responding to these concerns, the mint reverted to a copper-based composition in 1944, utilizing recycled ammunition shell casings to produce the planchets. This resulted in pennies composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, slightly different from the pre-war alloy that included tin. The 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced an astounding 1,435,400,000 of these coins. Despite this high mintage, certain factors can elevate a coin's value significantly. One such factor is the presence of errors or unique characteristics, such as lamination issues. Lamination errors occur when contaminants or impurities in the metal cause the coin's surface to peel or flake. This results in an uneven, sometimes jagged appearance, exposing underlying layers of the metal. In the case of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, lamination errors can be particularly intriguing to collectors, especially when they affect key design elements or create visually striking patterns. Imagine discovering a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny exhibiting prominent lamination scratches, with the red coloration of the copper contrasting against the damaged areas. The term red in numismatics refers to the original reddish luster of a copper coin that has been well preserved, indicating minimal exposure to the elements. However, when combined with lamination issues and signs of rust, the coin presents a unique juxtaposition of preservation and deterioration. Rust on a copper coin is uncommon, but can occur under certain conditions, particularly if the coin has been exposed to moisture or corrosive environments. The presence of rust, especially when localized around the lamination defects, adds another layer of complexity to the coin's condition and story. In today's auction market, the value of such a coin is influenced by several factors: the severity and visual impact of the lamination error, the overall condition of the coin, and the presence of original red luster. Collectors often seek coins with dramatic errors that are easily visible without magnification, as these pieces serve as conversation starters and highlights within a collection. A 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny from the Philadelphia Mint, exhibiting significant lamination scratches, red coloration, and areas of rust, can command a premium, especially if it has been authenticated and graded by a reputable service like the Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. While standard examples in circulated condition may be valued modestly, those with notable errors and unique characteristics can see their value increase substantially. For instance, a 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a pronounced lamination error and retaining much of its red luster might be valued between $76,000 depending on the market demand and the coin's overall eye appeal. If the coin also exhibits rust in a manner that adds to its uniqueness without compromising structural integrity, the value could be even higher. It's essential for collectors to have such coins evaluated by professionals to determine their authenticity and precise grade, as these factors play a crucial role in establishing market value. The 1979 silver Washington quarter dollar in circulated fine condition, particularly the large date variety without a mint mark, holds a significant place in both U.S. numismatic history and today's coin market. To fully understand its value, we need to dive into its historical context and why this specific coin has garnered so much attention from collectors. The Washington quarter itself was introduced in 1932, designed by John Flanagan. The obverse features a portrait of George Washington, America's first president, symbolizing the nation's deep respect for its heritage. On the reverse, a bald eagle, holding an olive branch and arrows, is depicted, symbolizing peace and strength. Over the years, the design of the Washington quarter has remained largely unchanged, except for occasional adjustments to the reverse or commemorative issues. By 1979, the U.S. Mint was already well into producing high volumes of quarters for circulation. This coin, however, stands out due to a specific variant known as the large date. The difference between the large and small date coins of 1979 comes down to the size of the digits on the obverse side. In particular, the large date variety has the 9s and 7s in the date, appearing much larger than those on the small date coins. This subtle design difference has become a key identification point for collectors. The absence of a mint mark is another significant feature of this coin. In 1979, the U.S. Mint was still producing coins in high volumes, and the mint mark was used to indicate where a coin was struck. Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The 1979 Washington quarter, struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark, is often considered more desirable by collectors due to its rarity and the mint's production process during that time. While the Denver and San Francisco mints were producing significant numbers of coins, the absence of a mint mark on the Philadelphia strikes makes these coins rarer in certain conditions. The 1979 large date quarter without a mint mark in circulated fine condition has increased in value due to various factors, including its rarity and well-preserved condition and collector demand for unique varieties. Although many coins were minted, finding a 1979 large date in fine condition can be difficult due to wear and tear over the years. Circulated fine condition typically means the coin shows moderate signs of wear, but the details of the design remain clearly visible. As such, the 1979 large date without a mint mark in this condition is an appealing option for collectors who want a piece of U.S. history without paying the premium for coins in mint or uncirculated condition. In today's market, the value of a 1979 large date Washington quarter without a mint mark in circulated fine condition has surged, with recent auction prices often reaching upward of $50,000, depending on the specific coin's level of wear and demand. This price may fluctuate based on market trends, collector interest, and the rarity of individual coins, but overall, this coin represents a solid investment for those looking to add a valuable piece to their collection. The coin's value is not only driven by its rarity, but also by the ongoing interest in the Washington Quarter series as a whole. Washington quarters from various years, especially those with unique features like the 1979 large date, are consistently sought after by collectors. The historical significance of the coin, the symbolism of Washington's portrait, and its place in the broader context of U.S. coinage make it a coveted item in auctions and private collections alike. Now, let's turn our attention to the second coin of today's discussion, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, with the S mint mark, indicating its origin from the San Francisco Mint. This particular variety holds a special place in the hearts of collectors due to its unique attributes and the historical context of its production. The San Francisco Mint, established in 1854, has a storied history of producing coins that are highly sought after by numismatists. In 1944, the mint struck 282,760,000 Lincoln Wheat Pennies, a significantly lower mintage compared to its Philadelphia counterpart. This relative scarcity adds an inherent desirability to the S mint mark pennies from this year. One of the distinguishing features of the 1944 S Lincoln Wheat Penny is the presence of a large date. The term large date refers to the size and style of the numerals in the coin's date inscription. Variations in date sizes can occur due to differences in die production and usage. and certain date styles can become particularly desirable among collectors. Coins from the 1944 S mintage often exhibit a bold and prominent date, making them stand out visually. This characteristic, combined with the S mint mark, contributes to the coin's appeal. However, the condition of the coin plays a pivotal role in determining its value. Consider a 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny found in a dirty or soiled condition. While at first glance such a coin might seem less desirable, it's important to assess the nature of the dirt or grime. Surface contaminants can sometimes be carefully removed through professional conservation methods, potentially revealing a coin in much better condition underneath. However, collectors should exercise caution and avoid attempting to clean coins themselves, as improper cleaning can lead to irreversible damage and a significant decrease in value. In the realm of numismatics, originality is highly prized. A coin that retains its original surfaces, even if dirty, is often more valuable than one that has been improperly cleaned. The presence of natural toning or patina can add character and historical authenticity to the piece. When evaluating a 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny in dirty condition, factors such as the underlying luster, the presence of any wear or damage, and the potential for professional conservation are considered. If the coin is free from significant scratches, corrosion, or other forms of damage, and if it exhibits strong details with minimal wear, it can still command a respectable value in the market. As of today's auction landscape, a 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny with a large date in a dirty but otherwise well-preserved condition can be valued between $54,500 or more, depending on the specifics. Coins that, upon professional conservation, reveal higher grades with original red luster can see their values increase substantially. For example, specimens graded as Mint State 65 or higher by PCGS or NGC have been known to fetch prices upwards of $56,000, especially if, next up, we have the 1990 silver Washington quarter dollar with a large date and the D mint mark. While the 1990 Washington quarter isn't as old as the 1979 coin we just discussed, it holds a unique place in the market due to its production year, mint mark, and the continuing demand for well-preserved quarters from the 1990s. The Washington quarter, as mentioned earlier, was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. The design has remained largely the same, with only occasional updates, and the quarter has undergone various changes in series over the years. By the time 1990 came around, the quarter had transitioned through several different series, including the 90% silver coins from the earlier years and the copper nickel-clad versions used in modern circulation. For the 1990 quarter, a major design feature that collectors watch out for is the large date variety. Similar to the 1979 quarter, the 1990 Washington quarter also had a variety of large and small date coins. The large date variety features larger digits in the year 1990 than the small date coins, making it stand out as a distinct variety. This difference is subtle but important to collectors looking for specific varieties to complete their sets. The presence of the D mint mark is another defining characteristic of this coin. Mint marks are used to denote the location where the coin was struck. In the case of the 1990 Washington quarter, the D mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Coins with the D mint mark are often seen as more common than those struck at the Philadelphia Mint, especially for certain years. However, the D mint quarters from the 1990s, particularly the large date variety, remain highly sought after due to their interesting design and collector interest in completing sets from this era. The 1990 Washington quarter with the D mint mark in circulated condition holds a distinct place in today's auction market. While it may not be as rare or valuable as some other coins from earlier years, it is still a favorite among collectors who appreciate its design and historical significance. In circulated condition, the coin typically shows signs of wear but still retains much of the detail in its design. The obverse features the iconic portrait of George Washington, and the reverse displays the image of an eagle perched on an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing the peace and strength of the United States. Collectors are drawn to the 1990 quarter, not just for its design, but also for its position in the broader context of U.S. coinage history. The 1990s marked an era when many coin designs were being altered or retired in favor of new series and commemorative issues. As such, the 1990 Washington Quarter is often seen as a bridge between the older traditional designs and the newer, more modern commemorative series that began to emerge in the following decades. In terms of market value, the 1990 Washington Quarter with the D mint mark in circulated condition has been fetching prices in the range of $36,000 in most auctions. This price can fluctuate depending on the specific condition of the coin, the quality of its strike, and the current market demand for coins from this era. While the 1990 quarter might not command the astronomical prices of more famous coins, it is still a solid investment for collectors looking to add a piece from this particular decade. Next up, we have one of the most expensive coins you can find in today's auction market, the 1953 large-date Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark, in dirty condition. Now, at first glance, this coin may not seem like much. It's one of those pieces you might come across in your pocket change and think little of. But don't be fooled. There is so much more to this coin than meets the eye, and when viewed through the lens of numismatics, it reveals a deep connection to U.S. history and a market value that might surprise you. The 1953 Lincoln wheat cent, like many of its predecessors, features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse, which shows two stalks of wheat, was designed by John R. Sinek, and this particular design has become iconic, symbolizing the agricultural heart of America. The coin was struck in copper, and its large date style was common during this period, with the large date designation referring to the size of the digits on the coin's obverse. The 1953 issue, while not as rare as some other dates in the series, still commands significant attention, especially when found in certain conditions. The large date variety from 1953 was produced in significant numbers, with over 1 billion coins minted that year. However, a coin's mintage alone doesn't determine its value. Condition, rarity, and any additional features, such as errors or unique characteristics, play a far greater role in the coin's price. When we talk about the 1953 Lincoln wheat cent in dirty condition, we're referring to a coin that has endured years, if not decades, of wear and tear, leaving it with a surface that's less than pristine. This may not sound appealing to the untrained eye, but in the world of coin collecting, coins with certain signs of aging, like a dirty or worn surface, can sometimes be of immense value, especially if the rest of the coin's characteristics remain relatively intact. The dirty condition of this coin, while typically detracting from its overall aesthetic appeal, doesn't necessarily lessen its historical importance. In fact, coins in this condition are often sought after by collectors looking for pieces with a story behind them, something that tells the tale of how this coin has survived from its time in circulation to its discovery in the modern day. While a pristine example of a 1953 Lincoln cent could command a price in the range of $1,000, a 1953 Lincoln wheat cent in dirty condition could fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on the auction and the level of interest among bidders. The coin's value is also influenced by demand, with collectors sometimes specifically targeting coins in lesser condition because they are often rarer than their more perfect counterparts. Moreover, the 1953 Lincoln wheat cent holds a special place in U.S. history as it was struck during the post-Wabidoforn economic boom, a period of growth and transition for the United States. It represents a time when the U.S. was emerging from wartime austerity and moving into an era of prosperity. This historical context adds another layer of significance to the coin, as collectors and investors are not only looking at the intrinsic value of the metal and minting process, but also at the broader economic and cultural story that the coin tells. Next up, let's begin with the 1967 large date without a mint mark. This coin holds immense appeal for those who study U.S. coins because of its rarity, the conditions under which it was struck, and the factors influencing its value today. The Washington quarter dollar, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, has seen numerous changes in design over the years. Initially designed by artist John Flanagan, the obverse of the Washington quarter features a profile of Washington's bust, while the reverse portrays an eagle. This design has endured, though minor changes and adjustments have occurred through the years. In 1967, the Washington quarter retained the iconic design, but with a twist. This was the era when coinage underwent several changes due to the ongoing economic pressures in the U.S., including rising silver prices. The United States Mint was still producing quarters from 90% silver up until 1964, but by 1965, the composition changed to a copper nickel clad, meaning the 1967 quarters were no longer silver. However, the collector's market still holds silver-era coins like the 1967 Washington quarter in high regard. One of the standout features of the 1967 Washington quarter is the large date version. This refers to the size and style of the numbers on the coin, specifically the year 1967. The large date is differentiated from the smaller date version produced for the same year. While the difference is subtle, it's significant to collectors who specialize in Washington quarters. When it comes to mint marks, the 1967 large date is of particular interest because it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without mint marks. Hence, it is called without mint mark and is one of the defining factors in determining its market value. Despite being in good condition, the 1967 large date Washington quarter without a mint mark can still fetch impressive prices at auction, particularly when found in good to excellent condition. As of today, coins in good condition can go for several $100s, depending on the specific details of the auction and the bidder pool. The demand for Washington quarters, particularly those from the 1960s era, remains high due to a combination of collector interest, historical significance, and the fact that these coins were part of a transitional period in U.S. coinage. Collectors of Washington quarters are often drawn to the 1967 large date without a mint mark because it represents a rare moment in the series. Not only is it part of a transitional era where the U.S. Mint was still shifting from silver to clad coinage, but it is also one of the last of the silver quarters to have been minted, making it an important piece in U.S. numismatic history. The mintage of the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark was substantial, but this does not mean the coin is easy to find in top-quality condition. Many of these coins saw heavy circulation, and thus they were subject to wear and tear, which lowers their grade. As a result, finding a coin in good or better condition is rare, and this is why these coins continue to climb in value over time. The auction market has seen increased demand for such coins, particularly for those in original, unaltered condition, which further pushes their value. There are a few key reasons collectors are interested in this coin. First, the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark holds historical value as part of the United States silver coinage history. Its significance as part of the last years of full silver quarters has only increased as time has passed. Additionally, its relative rarity and higher quality grades contributes to its demand. Coins in good condition are still attractive to many collectors who value not only the coin's design and composition, but also the nostalgia and historical importance they represent. Now, let's turn our attention to the next coin in today's discussion. The 1926 Abraham Lincoln wheat cent, large date, without a mint mark, in error condition with an error cut line on the obverse. This coin is a prime example of how rare errors can drive a coin's value into the stratosphere. The error on this coin, a cut line on the obverse, is particularly significant because it is a physical flaw that makes this coin stand out from the typical 1926 Lincoln wheat cent. The 1926 Lincoln wheat cent was minted at a time of great significance in American history. The United States was still feeling the effects of World War I, and the country was in the midst of the Roaring Twenties, a period of economic prosperity, social change, and technological innovation. The coin itself was part of the regular series of Lincoln wheat cents that began in 1909. As with other coins in the series, the obverse features a bust of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displays two stalks of wheat. This particular 1926 Lincoln cent is an example of the large date variety, with the digits of the year being noticeably larger than those found on other coins minted that year. The coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as evidenced by the lack of a mint mark, and it was part of a series produced in the millions. However, it's the error condition of this coin that makes it so valuable in today's market. The error cut line on the obverse of the 1926 Lincoln wheat cent is the key feature that elevates its value. An error like this occurs when something goes wrong during the coin striking process, leading to a physical flaw in the final product. In this case, the error caused a cut line to appear on the coin's obverse side, which creates a distinctive mark that collectors find highly desirable. The rarity of this error is significant because such mistakes are relatively uncommon, and the fact that this coin survived the years in such a condition only adds to its allure. The presence of an error-cut line on a coin can often dramatically increase its value. While a standard 1926 Lincoln wheat cent in average condition might only be worth a few dollars, the error variety can easily fetch anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the error and the overall condition of the coin. A well-preserved example of this coin, with the cut line clearly visible, can see its value soar even higher, especially in auction settings where collectors are competing for such unique pieces. Collectors are particularly drawn to coins with errors because they are seen as rarities that represent a mistake made during the minting process. There's an inherent charm in owning a coin that is not like the others, something that sets it apart and tells a story of human error, craftsmanship, and history. Error coins, especially those with dramatic flaws like a cut line, are prized in numismatic circles for their uniqueness and scarcity. As a result, the 1926 Lincoln wheat cent, in error condition, is not just a piece of U.S. history. It's a highly sought-after commodity in today's coin market. In terms of mintage, the 1926 Lincoln wheat cent was produced in large numbers, with over 192 million coins being struck that year. Despite the large mintage, the error variety is relatively rare, and as with many error coins, the appeal comes from the fact that they were produced in limited quantities, often due to the irregularities that occurred during the minting process. This rarity, combined with the unique cut line error, is what makes the 1926 large-date Lincoln wheat cent such a valuable piece today. Now, let's move on to the 1982 Washington quarter with a large date and the D-error mint mark. The 1982 Washington quarter was minted during an era of intense economic inflation, rising production costs, and a shift in coin composition that began back in the 1960s. This was the year the U.S. Mint produced a variety of quarter designs with significant differences in mintage and production errors. The most important of these for collectors is the large date with a D-error mint mark. In 1982, the U.S. Mint struck quarters with both small and large dates. The difference is seen in the size and positioning of the numbers 1982 on the coin's obverse, and while the small date variety is more common, the large date has drawn considerable attention in the collector community. What makes the 1982 large date with the D error particularly unique is the minting flaw, which occurred when a batch of quarters was struck with the incorrect mint mark. Most 1982 quarters struck at the Denver Mint would carry a D mint mark, but due to an error, some quarters were released with a double die, resulting in a mint mark error that has since been identified as a valuable mistake. While the 1982 large date with a D-error mint mark is not as rare as some other error coins, it holds value because of its unique history. For many collectors, coins with minting errors are desirable for their rarity, and the story they tell about the imperfections of the U.S. Mint's production processes. Mint errors can increase the value of a coin exponentially, especially when the error is both noticeable and significant, as in the case of the D error on the 1982 Washington quarter. Collectors are often drawn to this coin because of its unusual features. Not only does it represent a specific design variation, the large date, but it also showcases the specific flaw of the D error mint mark, which adds a layer of intrigue and uniqueness. This coin is especially attractive to numismatists who specialize in error coins or who seek to complete their Washington quarter collection with these rare and significant varieties. The market value for the 1982 Washington quarter with the D-error mint mark has fluctuated over the years, but has generally remained high due to the coin's historical significance and its popularity among collectors of error coins. In circulated condition, the coin can fetch prices in the range of hundreds of dollars at auction, depending on the quality and demand at the time of sale. Another factor contributing to its value is the relatively low mintage of this error coin compared to other regular issue quarters from the same year. While the overall mintage of 1982 Washington quarters was substantial, the error versions are far less common. Additionally, the fact that they were not discovered until years after their release further adds to their allure for collectors, who relish the opportunity to find such anomalies in their collections. Next up, let's talk about the 1911 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent, a coin that holds a significant place in American numismatics. If you've ever come across one of these in your collection, or if you're considering adding it to your lineup, you may want to pay attention. The 1911 Lincoln Wheat penny is one of the most iconic and sought-after coins in the U.S. market, particularly in used and dirty conditions. But what makes this coin so valuable? The 1911 wheat penny was struck during the early years of the 20th century, in a period of immense economic and social change. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, had been assassinated in 1865, and by 1911, his legacy was deeply ingrained in the national consciousness. The U.S. Mint had just begun producing pennies with the Lincoln motif in 1909, making the 1911 coin part of a new series. The series was groundbreaking for its representation of a former president on everyday currency. Lincoln's image was designed by Victor David Brenner, an artist whose work would go on to be widely recognized and admired. The 1911 coin itself is remarkable in many ways, especially given its age. The obverse of the coin shows a detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the inscription, "In God We Trust," around the upper edge, a phrase that was becoming synonymous with American values. Below Lincoln's image, the coin reads, "Liberty," and the date of issue is shown at the bottom, a critical feature for collectors identifying the year of production. The reverse side of the 1911 coin features two stalks of wheat, which have become a hallmark of the wheat penny series. The design is simple yet elegant, capturing the agricultural heritage of America at the time. The coin reads 1 cent in the center, with United States of America curving around the top and E pluribus unum on the bottom, reflecting the national motto. Now, when we consider the 1911 Lincoln wheat penny in dirty and used condition, we're talking about a coin that has seen many years of circulation, with visible wear and dirt accumulation that might seem like a negative to some, but is a crucial aspect for collectors. You see, the value of coins, especially rare ones like this, can be determined not just by their condition but also by their rarity and historical significance. While a well-preserved 1911 penny would command a much higher price, even in its worn state, this coin holds value because it was minted in large quantities. Over 209 million pieces were struck. However, due to the passage of time and the sheer volume of circulation, few examples remain in excellent condition. That's where its value begins to rise. In the market today, a 1911 Lincoln wheat penny in dirty and used condition can still fetch a significant price, particularly at auction. Depending on the level of wear and any distinguishing features like potential die cracks or unique marks, a 1911 coin can be valued anywhere from $30,000 to upwards of $50,000, with certain exceptional pieces reaching even higher amounts. Collectors are drawn to these coins because of the historical context they represent, as well as the fact that these coins are a piece of U.S. history that can never be recreated. Historically speaking, the 1911 coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark for coins produced in that year. This lack of a mint mark is an important characteristic when identifying the coin, and it differentiates it from other years that used various mint marks, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Because the 1911 coin was part of a massive mintage, it was not initially seen as rare, and many of these pennies were used for decades in everyday transactions. However, as time passed, fewer and fewer of these coins survived in good condition, leading to an increase in demand for well-preserved pieces. This demand has fueled interest among collectors, leading to significant spikes in prices at various auction houses, depending on the coin's quality and rarity. The 1911 Lincoln wheat penny's collector interest is fueled by several factors. First, it's a coin that falls within the popular Lincoln wheat penny series, which spans from 1909 to 1958. Collectors who focus on this series are often looking for specific years, and the 1911 coin is considered one of the more affordable options among the early years of production. Additionally, its historical significance, paired with its relatively low survival rate in high-quality condition, makes it highly sought after in the world of coin collecting. In summary, the 1911 Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent, even in dirty and used condition, continues to hold significant value in today's auction market. Its historical importance, the enduring appeal of Lincoln's image, and its relative rarity in excellent condition combine to make it a highly collectible and valuable coin. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar coin, especially the one with the D-era mint mark, is a highly sought-after item in the world of numismatics. This coin features not just a significant design, but also an intriguing error that elevates its desirability among collectors. To truly understand its value and what makes it special, we have to take a deep dive into its historical background, its mintage numbers, the features of the coin, and why the D-mint mark error adds such unique value. The Washington quarter dollar was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington on the bicentennial of his birth. Since then, it has gone through various design changes, and in 1980, it was part of a series that maintained the classic obverse and reverse designs that were introduced in 1980-1932. The obverse features a profile of George Washington, while the reverse showcases an eagle with an olive branch, a symbol of peace, and arrows, symbolizing readiness for war. By the time the 1980 issue was minted, Washington quarters had already become a part of the everyday currency in the U.S. But the 1980 coin remains significant due to its distinctive features and errors. In 1980, the United States Mint issued over 600 million Washington quarters, but it was the ones minted at the Denver Mint that became the subject of controversy. A small minting error involving the D mint mark, a symbol of coins minted in Denver, would make these coins extraordinarily rare and valuable. The design of the 1980 Washington quarter is iconic, with its traditional obverse and reverse patterns. The obverse, designed by John Flanagan, features a bust of George Washington. The date 1980 is prominently displayed below the bust, and the word Liberty is inscribed along the top. The reverse of the coin showcases an eagle perched on an olive branch with United States of America and E pluribus unum inscribed around it. The coin also includes the words quarter dollar, representing its value. The mint mark, which is usually placed to the right of the eagle on the reverse, is where the error occurred. For most coins, the mint mark is placed correctly, either as a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. However, for a specific subset of 1980 Washington quarters, the D mint mark was incorrectly positioned, resulting in a dramatic error. The mint mark was struck too high, causing the D to be placed on the Washington's cheek, rather than in its usual position on the reverse side of the coin. This error occurred in a batch of coins that were produced at the Denver Mint and has become one of the most highly prized varieties in the Washington quarter series. While the total mintage of Washington quarters in 1980 was exceptionally high, with over 600 million coins struck, only a small percentage of them featured the D mint mark error. This error is incredibly rare, and its scarcity is what makes the 1980 Washington quarter with the D mint mark error so valuable today. The vast majority of 1980 Washington quarters were struck correctly, meaning that the error coins are considered to be anomalies, making them stand out in the eyes of collectors. The mintage numbers for the 1980 Washington quarter with the D mint mark error are not entirely clear, but it's estimated that only 1,000 of these coins were ever released into circulation with the erroneous mint mark. Due to the rarity of the error, these coins command a premium price in the market, often fetching significantly higher prices than their non-error counterparts. The market value of the 1980 Washington quarter with the D-error mint mark has seen substantial growth over the years, especially as more collectors become aware of its rarity and desirability. In circulated condition, the coin is worth significantly more than other 1980 Washington quarters. While a typical 1980 Washington quarter might only be worth its face value or slightly above, the 1980 coin with the D-error mint mark can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, depending on the coin's condition. The value of this coin is largely determined by its condition, rarity, and the error itself. In high-grade, uncirculated conditions, the coin's value skyrockets, with some specimens fetching over $10,000 or more at auction. Even in circulated condition, however, the coin still holds substantial value, with some selling for several $100s. The scarcity of the coin due to its minting error only serves to drive up demand, making it a highly coveted piece among collectors. Collector interest in the 1980 Washington quarter with the D-mint mark error is robust, as this coin represents both an error in minting and a rare collectible. Many collectors of Washington quarters specifically seek out these error coins to add to their collections. Furthermore, the presence of the minting error makes this coin an attractive option for investors looking to capitalize on the appreciation in value over time.